This is Moments with Foo with James Foo Torres, better known as Foo, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Moments with Foo is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Foo.
Hey, are you looking to scale your business from 5 figures to 6 figures or 6 figures to 7 figures? If you are, I have the perfect thing for you. What I want you to do today is I want you to go download a book. This book is going to take you through my 3-pillar system. It's 100% free. All you have to do is go to growfast.cash. I say again, go to growfast.cash and you're going to be able to download my free international best-selling book, which is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. You can take that book. It's going to help you scale your business to the next level. Again, go download it. Be good, be brief, be gone. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. Enjoy.
Welcome to Moments with Foo. I'm your host, James Foo Torres, but you can call me Foo. Hence the name of the show. Today I have Shelby Ring. She is the chief cat herder of a video production company, and this is take 3, but we're having fun.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, and I'm gonna let Shelby introduce herself, but first, Shelby, how are you feeling?
Foo, I'm doing spectacular for the third time.
For the third time. Oh my God.
I'm doing amazing. No, I honestly am doing amazing. And this soothes my soul because I know I was mentioning to you before we got recording, I was going on someone's show the other day. My camera was not talking to my computer and I dang near had a meltdown. So this just, technology, we love it. We hate it. It makes us struggle. Somehow I decided to open a video production company and thought that was a good idea so I can just be surrounded by technology. I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here. I'm so glad technology can bring us together over oceans and time and space.
Right. Regardless on any of the small hiccups,
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes not that small, but it's fine. But anyway, I've been having fun like always every time that I talk to you, and I'll be going through this. I would rather go through this with you than anybody else, because if there's anybody who understand, it's you.
Dude, oh my gosh. Ugh. I get asked all the time, are you like a gearhead? Do you love, are you just one of those people that's just researching tech? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm just trying to tell stories. I have to use this technology and I learn it just for the function of it. So thank you for being a fellow a user of functional equipment alongside me.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I'm not a tech guy. I use the tech so I can communicate with people all around the world in various ways, right? And that's why I look for technology to make my life easier, to make my horizons, very, very expand my horizons, let's say, right? Like I can reach the world with it. So I love that. So you're, just for context for people, you're in Colorado.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Close. Oh, you're in Austin. Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought Colorado.
I had a stint in Fort Collins, Colorado. I think when I interviewed you, that was my connecting point, talking about Colorado.
Okay. I was like, I thought it was like that. But anyway, Austin, Texas. We're in Puerto Rico. Far. Colorado was further, right? All the parts of the world, but still making it happen because of tech, right?
That's right.
And this goes with what you do with your clients, right? You are telling stories, like you said, and you are helping people that have like very technical jobs to be able to communicate in a not so technical way or something like that. Can you explain that?
Yes. So we used to just, back in the day, a decade ago, when we would take a client on to shoot a brand story, we would just do as we were told, right? We would just come and we would shoot some B-roll footage, and we would just sit someone down in a chair and we would just ask the who, what, where, when, why, how of their business. And as technology, as our information attention spans dwindled to this finite amount of seconds we have to work with these days, our ability to tell stories had to evolve. So what we do now is we often work with tech founders, small to mid-sized businesses, but our whole thing is taking really complex services that are behemoths in their own right and make them really simple for the general population to understand, grasp, and assign personal meaning in their lives. So we love working with our tech titans and our brainiacs that are doing amazing things in the world and translating that into things that someone is just going to click on TikTok or click on their Instagram feed when they're scrolling in the dark of night.
The dark of night.
In the darkness.
That's funny. Very, very accurate though, right? It's now you have to be able to be super efficient with your storytelling or people are gone.
Yeah.
No fluff.
Yes.
You have to be entertaining. Doesn't matter how good your information is. You have to keep people engaged.
Yes.
And there's science to it. And there's a lot of people doing it. And if you're not doing it, then you get left behind. That's simple. That's how I see it. Don't you see it like that?
It is an era of, in the first 4 seconds, when you are producing something, you need to say something or show something on the screen that stops people in their tracks. So 10 years ago, we could do a nice slow pan into a nice building and then a nice walkway down the hallway. And then about 10 seconds in, we would start doing our voiceover content. And now it has to be dramatic, a filter effect, typography, like something saying, we live in a world where printers are going to be the death of us. Is squid ink the new technology? And, you need to be like, scientists have labored over this in chambers beneath the ocean for decades. And this esoteric scientist brought this technology to the common man. Are you still using? I mean, it's like, it's insane, but that's what we're working with now. That is where the creative mind has to come in, and you got to make it interesting.
Definitely very creative. That's for sure. That sounded like a Bollywood movie or something. I don't know.
Well, we're launching. So, a big tie-in to what I've been talking about a lot is we're launching this masterclass for specifically male introverted tech founders on the art of being on camera, the art of, if you use Zoom, if you do any type of keynote work, if you have to do any type of just holding people's attention, it's the art of being on camera, the art of how do you prepare for a moment like this, and how do you feel comfortable in your body, but also know what you're going to say that's going to hold people's attention and matter to them, because nothing that you say matters until it matters to them in their world. So it's so simple, but that's the world that we're in right now, is being able to break apart, what is the concept behind what you're saying? And concept is something I've probably learned, honestly, half a decade into our service of video production. Is it's not just, we use inkless technology for our printers. It is, maybe your product is like a laser, right? Like like screw printers. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, we use convenient inkless technology, and instead, what is the role that you play? Like, are you actually the hero in the forever villain situation of the printer that, office administrators and everyone that's ever owned a printer ever has just loathed? Are you this rescuer that's coming in to make people's lives easier, to make students be able to learn better? Like, you have to come in and offer something that's larger, whether it's larger than life or it is raw and it stops people in their tracks. People are ready for something that is fresh and interesting and is significant. So that's a huge part of what we're teaching, what we offer. If we work with brands, we do their brand campaigns. But if not, this is our toolkit of, here's how you can think through something, whether you're on a budget or you are just hiring a contractor. Here's how you can make the most bang for buck for hiring and spearheading your own video campaign, or even for your next keynote speaking event, for your next podcast interview. How can you hone and tailor your message in a way that hits and help you build more momentum in the thing that you're passionate about?
Yeah, I really like when you saying like the positioning, basically, on how you frame things, and are you the hero, like who's the enemy, and that made me think of last book of Patrick Bet-David. Is called Choose Your Enemies Wisely.
Ooh, tell me more.
The concept is that a lot of people don't choose the right enemy, and they end up like working against the wrong thing. Like, you're not saving anybody here. Like, you're not picking the right enemy. So if you pick your enemies wisely, you use that fuel as for the hero journey, given that that's your enemy, right?
Beautiful.
So that's why he was saying on like different parents that have become the enemy for some points for their kids, but ended up being a good thing because of that was the fuel to get them to succeed. So he explored those different scenarios with even parents and kid dynamics and things like that, and it's pretty cool. Like, since I got into that book, I bring this to all my clients. It's we have to choose our enemy wisely. Like, we have, like, who are we going against in this? Because if nobody's taking an opposite position, then you're not like you're not positioning yourself correctly, right? Like, it's like that's something. That's why when you said that, it's like, wow, like, it's definitely something that I've been using a lot. It's that positioning, and that's why. And this is like a little a couple golden nuggets here for the audience. You should never position yourself as the cheapest. Like, you never should use price as a differentiator, and also you should never use quality, because nobody's taking the opposite position of being the less quality, and you don't want to have a race to the bottom on cheap prices, right? Like, that's just not where you want to be. So that ties along with like the positioning and choosing your enemies wisely.
Ooh, I love that. I'm so glad that you mentioned the piece on don't compete for the bottom of the barrel. I think that I was listening or reading something of Tim Ferriss's, probably maybe it was in the 4-Hour Work Week back in the day. But the concept of so many people, when they're coming into a new industry or a new niche, they think that if they price it towards the lower end, they're going to they'll get more business or, more volume, because maybe they're having to, like in my industry with video production, if I can offer something and I know that I have one camera and I have 2 lavalier microphones and I have 1 light, then, maybe if I offer a smaller package, I'll have more opportunity and then I can grow from there. And we actually did that when there was no we then. It was just Shelby, the individual. When I was starting to produce and film videos back in the day, that approach shot me in the foot, because I found that at the bottom of the barrel, I had people left and right because I would go and I would subscribe or I would make fake aliases for wedding video services because that was my product. I only, I was shooting a lot of weddings. I would, make an alias and say, oh, I'm getting married, in 16 months from now, I'm Janet, and I would be able to research what my competitors' packages and pricing was. And what was amazing was there was 2 or 3 people that were in my market that they would send their media kit. And then afterwards they would say, hey, we haven't heard from you. We could take $250 off. And then the next week, hey, we're not sure if you've made a decision yet, but we can upgrade drone footage and, that's a $700 value. Hey, we can, and that like one person actually took their pricing down to 50%. Now we all have different end goals and objectives, and I don't know that person's circumstances and what that money meant to them and what they were going through. I know that I could not sustain my life if I was doing that same just chop, 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 chop on price and on value. And it took me about 5 years into our business. I read the book The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and it's such a it's a staple piece of writing for me in my life. Absolutely changed my perspective in some beautiful ways. The scope of The War of Art is addressing everyone has an expression they are meant to bring into the world, whether you're a public speaker or an artist or a writer, whatever you are offering to create in this lifetime, that soul aligned offering to the equal call you have towards your art, there's an equal call of resistance. That's our self-sabotage. That's the way that resistance is this. It doesn't differentiate between enemies. It's just this thing in us that if you are going towards your highest calling, your highest way of being of service in the world, you're going to have an equal amount of your own mental challenge, and your circumstances are going to feel like a dumpster fire around you when you're in line with something that it does big work in the world. And when I read that book, it just lit a fire under my butt because I was able to identify the resistance I knew I had in my life, which was I knew I needed to shoot my own brand video. I knew that our website sucked. Our copywriting sucked. I was just piecing together things from what my competitors were doing. And it was this hodgepodge of, I don't mean any of this. I don't like my clients. I'm just trying to get my bread and live and grow and try to settle into a new place that I moved in only a few years before that. So all that was so not in alignment. And I remember it was like cue the Rocky theme song. I was getting up at 5 a.m. That was when I started drinking coffee. I never drank coffee up until that point. I was just getting the jitters and getting on my computer, and I was video editing and I was building my website out. And, I did this copywriting course by, it's Marie Forleo's The Copy Cure. And it just helped me identify, I didn't know what an ideal client avatar was up until that point. I'd never even thought of writing and speaking in the language that my dream clients would resonate with. I didn't know any of that. I was just like, cinematic videos for the soul. Like, no one thinks like that. Get out of here. Just leave. You don't even need to be in the room, right? So it was just a huge 180, right? And I upped our prices. I was absolutely mortified. I was so scared that people weren't going to, I just felt like I was a fraud. What we were offering, our price point, it was right it was still towards the bottom of the spectrum of that market. But I had my own imposter syndrome popping up. But I was like, I don't care. I'm sick of not sleeping well at night because I'm just in my head that I know that we could be bigger than what we are. And, the epilogue to that story is we quadrupled our sales that year. And then every year after that, it just was something that skyrocketed. But it was slowing down, to do the hard stuff that I had the most resistance towards, I was the most afraid of, putting myself on camera, just all of these layers that I knew this is my superpower. This is what's worked for me in the past. This is something that is easy for me once I'm in that position. But the self-sabotage to talk myself out of the things I knew I should do. Oh, it just kicked my butt for several years, and it still does. I just know the flavor now. So I know when that gremlin, we were chatting about this before we started recording, of when you start slowing down that momentum, that almost muscular resilience of your mind of, I need to face this thing, I gotta keep going. When you slow down, it feels like a stamina that begins to atrophy. And now I know that flavor more. And I know I gotta go lift weights. I gotta go listen to some loud music. I gotta get in my body, and I gotta Rocky pump up. I gotta get in the zone again. I gotta go eat cat crap and just, pick myself back up after facing some hard stuff. But I don't know where the how to land that statement other than kudos to the war of art. Don't go for the bottom of the barrel, and just face your imposter syndrome and ask yourself those hard questions. And what does it cost you if you don't do the hard things?
The cost of opportunity. I use that so much more often nowadays, and I use it on every aspect of life. And even like the other day, I got this like big revelation. It's like, because I'm single, so I'm dating, and I was with this female that I know that I'm not gonna be in a relationship with this person, and we kind of talked about it, right? Like we talked about it.
Okay.
So then I was like, I don't even like, what am I doing then? Like,
Yeah.
this is a like, oh, I'm having sex or blah, blah, blah. Like, but it's like, what about the cost of opportunity of me being in this situation right now just because of sex or whatever? Like, just like,
Sure.
just in the equivalent of this in business, or it's like, whoa, just making some money or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's good, it's not great, but it's something is coming out of it. But then what's the cost of opportunity? You're putting all this energy into this. What if you put it towards getting what you actually want, what you actually deserve, what would actually make you happy? Even if you don't get it right away, but then just that, like, you have to start working towards that direction at some point. So
yes,
might as well do it sooner rather than later.
Dude, amazing awareness. That is the coolest revelation, that you just realized, I'm eating some junk food over here, but I don't want to have a full belly when the main course rolls out. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then just framing it as the cost of opportunity. And I've been sharing with some people, and they were like, you're right. Like, like people have been having that. It's like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah. Well, and another beautiful thing on that, and I love, like, thank you for opening this window of just a metaphor. I was speaking with someone over this weekend, and this brilliant young man, that he was asking, is everything that women want just a successful tech founder, and everyone else is just chump change? And speaking to, what are the values, and also what are the values of the person that you want to have by your side? What do they embody that matters to you? And then think about, who is that person in other parts of their life? But what you're describing, imagine if that wonderful partner that would match you when you are your biggest, best self, when you are just operating and you're firing on all cylinders, what if they were taking the same approach of just, having some snacks here and there, and, they meet you and they don't have the eyes to see the synergy that can be there, because they're just filling up on junk food. And if those tables were reversed, I've thought about that quite a lot in different chapters of my life, and recognizing, man, like, if I keep going with this, even and bringing it back into business, if I don't slow down and take on these projects, write the script for this documentary, slow down, write the masterclass for on-camera presence, if I don't do these things and just follow the momentum that I've been generating, you know, I always think of, if you're sitting at the edge of your grave, you're at the end of your life and you look back, will you have a sense of pride that you did the challenging things? And it's those types of moments that anchor me personally into, I got to get to work on the things that matter. And maybe I'm not going to make the bukus of cash that I like to be playing with at this time. If I take 3 months, go underground and go into the darkness to plant seeds, let them grow and cultivate it into this like behemoth in my own life. But it is the opportunity cost. It is the alignment of, I got to get right with myself. So when that woman walks by, I am present, I'm cognizant, I can bring my just full force to bring my whole self to the table.
Yeah, and another aspect that I've been focusing a lot, and also like this applies to every aspect in life, is that we attract what we are. And how do you pretend to attract high quality clients if you are not being a high quality, a high value, a very precise, very efficient service provider, content creator, whatever you want to call it, right? It's focus on yourself, focusing on level up, slow down, take the time to go to strategy, right? Like analyze everything that you have in front of you, prioritize, then go execute and do it with intention and surround yourselves with people that can help you, right? Like you're a company that like helps those people to tell their story better, to eliminate a lot of the friction, right? That's something that I focus a lot. It's just on me, and then attracting, but then like how can I attract, right? If I'm not right? Like I have to be first, right?
Yes.
And then attract that I am, and then look for people that will help me remove friction and amplify my impact, which is what we do as marketers, right? It's amplify the impact of those people that, at least I do, and I know you too. It's like I'm always looking for those people that are already doing something good, and I'm like, okay, let me amplify this, because that's my way to indirectly make the world a better place.
That's
through
beautiful.
them, right?
Yes.
Not just through my direct impact.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. That's so beautiful. Yeah.
Looking to grow your business beyond 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures plus? What I want you to do is go download this book. The title is called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. It will help you grow your business past 5, 6, and 7 figure. Go download the book today. Growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and download the book for absolutely free.
As you're describing that, an approach that has been successful for me in getting into circles that perhaps I don't have direct access to, if it's a certain niche, if it's a part of the population, any of that in business, when it comes to sales, because I sold life insurance to the senior market in my early 20s, and I was an excellent door-to-door salesperson. It didn't come easy, but I made my 500 cold calls a week, and I said the lines, and I learned the skills, and it also sucked my soul dry, and I had nothing left to give, because it was a form of, it was just an energy that I felt like I was exploiting the best of who I am, and it didn't feel genuine. So I have found with sales, with marketing, my most successful way of prospecting is, how can I build a platform, whether it's a newsletter, a feature, just any type of momentum, blog articles, what can I give within my realm, within my business, my website, my social, whatever accounts I have. And instead of asking for things from people, how can I open up my channels and add value to people? And I know that the term add value is very much thrown around these days, and it feels a little diluted in my opinion. But that was the way that when it came to we cut our teeth in the, the luxury wedding space in the Southeast. My thing was always recognizing, okay, wedding planners are gatekeepers. They are the people that have the higher end productions versus direct advertising. So I need to add value to this amazing group of powerhouse, largely women. And so the actions that I would take would be, it started off with email interviews. Hey, we're doing some features. We would love to feature your business. Here's 5 questions. Your best venues, your opinion of what's trending in 2018, and what are the things that is the best advice you could give to couples. And then we would generate, go on to, we didn't have Canva then, but we would build these Instagram posts and our email newsletter, and we would just give people backlinks. Backlinks are so potent to just, oh my gosh, the domain authority and being able to build web rings for people. Just trying to exhibit to people, hey, we want to elevate and give momentum. Maybe we only have 300 people that are actually paying attention to our stuff, but that's perhaps 300 people you didn't have before we let you answer 5 questions and then turned it into something. So always seeking to add value and ask really great questions. And when we launched our podcast, because we have our podcast, the Ruby Hour, when I launched that, my marketing team, our copywriters and our SEO gals, they were like, Shelby, we are already stacked. We need to just focus on search engine optimization. We cannot go into you producing a show. We have no bandwidth. That is not what we need to be doing. That's not what your energy needs to go towards. And I had to make an executive decision and realize it's going to take so much work and energy and time and brain power that, yeah, I'm already scarce with. But I know that if someone comes into our environment and they sit in our studio and they have a 5-star experience of 2 hours of being cared for, having the attention on them, having just full presence to celebrate who they are, where they came from, and what they're excited about now, that's going to do so much more in a social economy and leaving a real impression that's tangible. And we did that. 2019 was when we launched, and 35% of our sales for that year directly came from our podcast guests or referrals from our podcast guests, which was the point. I think that even though we do live in a digital era, and especially now, holy cow, especially now, there's something magic about people being in the same room together. There's something wonderful about just, when you invite someone into a space you're recording with together and you walk down the hallway together and you figure out, how do I walk alongside this person? I didn't realize they were that tall. Or, just like, how do they smell? Like just these like little details of appreciating somebody's humanity and offering hospitality. That leaves an experience. It's an experiential exchange. And I think that, you and I, we've chatted before around being millennials, we're in this cusp between the Gen Zs and, coming off of the boomer era and the X, it's like just coming from the space of industry and then the space of the information age. You cannot, you just can't measure truly being in person with people and the impact that it has and the ripple effect that it creates from being willing to share in-person time and offer value, offer something that's going to make their business or their life better. And I think the biggest thing you can do is just be in the room with them. Don't be distracted. Don't be fussing with your phone. Don't let your phone be chiming and pinging and dinging. It's just take someone in. That is the best service you can give to anybody in this world, and especially in business.
I completely agree, and that's the main reason why I like podcasting. It's a great way for me to lead with value. Be like, hey, I think you're cool. I think that I want to build a relationship with you. How about starting by planning a podcast, then recording it, then distributing them from there? We've been building a relationship. We talked a little bit. If there's some opportunities there that we can collaborate, we can work together, whatever the case may be. Great. Let's do another call and then just keep pushing so we can do that. If not, look, I led with value. Hopefully we recorded a good podcast. We distribute that, and that's it. But often there's conversations to be had after, relationships to be made for strategic partnerships, clients, friends, people that will give you referrals and things like that. So I completely believe in the podcasting because of that. Like, more than just, I just think it's interesting what I have to say. Yeah, I want to make it as interesting as possible, and I want people to also be more interesting. But it's not about that. It's about building the relationship, especially be in person. Then go. Typically, we do record a podcast. Then we go eat. We go dinner after.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, I love
So
that.
so those are the things that I really enjoy is having that excuse almost, right, to be able to be efficient. It's like, hey, worst case scenario, we have a podcast. Best case scenario, we build a relationship where we work together or do something epic together, whatever. Right.
Heck
Yeah. So let's start wrapping this up so people can digest all the things that we have said. Is there any one or two takeaways you want to leave the audience with?
My biggest takeaway is, if you need to be on camera, if you need to do a talking head segment like this, don't be afraid to let your freak flag fly. And what I mean by this is, I think a lot of people are terrified of coming across as nerdy, not cool, just whatever expression of dorky. But what actually hits is when you are uninhibited to just nerd out a little bit about things that you love. That passion or that fun is captivating. So if you need to be on your next, maybe you're facilitating a webinar or a Zoom call or just even a staff team meeting. Remember in school when we would do show and tell and you could bring whatever little trinket from home? Think about what is something, a metaphor or in real life, that you can kick off and share a little bit of your humanity. And I think people do this in a boring way where they dump their excuses of like why they're late, or like, oh, sorry, like my kid is sick. Ugh. And it's like, no one wants to hear that. But you know what they do want to hear about? They want to hear about the sheriff of video editing. Let me go grab him. This little guy. To bring on, before we get started on today's webinar, I want you to meet the sheriff. He keeps everybody in line with video editing. Make sure you're on task. This is who you need to meet today. Okay. So we're going to stay on task and we're going to have a good time, but, he's watching, over here on the desk. But that's honestly, show your little quirks and celebrate something. Tell people something that you love. Tell people something that you're excited about. Tell them you are taking lessons for wake surfing or you suck at pickleball. I heard an intro to a podcast episode where super successful author introduces himself as a shitty golfer. And I instantly loved that guy. I was instantly like, I want to talk to that guy, because he didn't just lead with, oh, he's one of the, the top guys on News Weekly and blah, blah, blah. Like, he sounds like everybody else. But tell me about a shitty golfer. I want to hear some stories. Have you broke anything while you're golfing? How do you spend your time besides heckling your friends? I just immediately, when you share something that is personal, but it's lighthearted, it builds an opportunity for connection. So build
You
bridges.
did it. I mean, you've done everything. Basically, you brought the chief. Then you also call yourself the chief cat herder, right?
This is true.
That's one of those examples of waving your freak flag.
Yes. I was thinking about our first episode where you were like, how are you doing today? And what came out of my face was, there was a raccoon outside. It didn't bite me. I don't have rabies, so I'm having a good day. That's a very, I don't know if I want to lead with that. It's known as the non-rabies girl, but if that's what people remember, okay, I don't have rabies, so that's good.
Yeah. So, do you know that's something that you say that, and I think I have struggled with it, in some ways, but then also I'm very authentic too. But sometimes I wish I was more intentionally funny. Like, I end up being funny on things that I just come across. Like, I just kind of use my environment and I just did it right there. But I'm not intentionally going into a conversation thinking, oh, I'm going to start like this because it's going to be funny. Right. Like, and maybe you shouldn't I don't force that it happens, but sometimes I wish I was like more funny, use more sarcasm or something. But then the only thing is that sometimes people that use too much sarcasm, I don't know if they're telling the truth or not. Yeah. Like, I just don't know. You use it so often at this point, I don't even know what's the truth. And,
fun fact about the word sarcasm: it comes from the same root word like sarcophagus, which means to eat away at one's flesh. So sarcasm is literally like eating away at the fiber of people's just humanity.
Maybe that's why I don't like it.
Yeah. Don't leave the sarcasm. Don't eat people's flesh, yo. We're not like in an apocalypse.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just that, finding that balance in that way of displaying your quirkiness, your, like waving your freak flag, like you said. I never heard that, and I really like that one.
Yeah.
But without being also respectful and mindful that it's not just you like, let me just talk, let me just say a bunch of weird stuff, and just because this is how I am. No, just be you, be authentic, be quirky, be everything, be freaky, or you be a freak, whatever, but do it in an empathetic way. That's what I would say.
100%. Give a breadcrumb trail of what makes you unique. What are your hobbies, your interests that some people might be like, that's so dorky. Just own it, because the dorks out there that value the same things as you will like it. And those are probably your people you're marketing to anyways.
Yes. I one last thing that I want to cover before we start wrapping up is something that I heard today when I talked to this video editor, and I think that you're going to like this one. He told me that he films to edit.
Yes.
What do you got to say about that?
I certainly look through a production day in terms of what kind of workload is this going to be in post-production, and different cinematographers have different approaches with this. Some people want to do it 20 different times. I would be curious if that's the person that's editing their footage. I think that one of the best things you can do is if this is relevant for someone's world, edit the things that you're producing, like get into the background of it, listen. You and I were laughing about chapstick, and when you watch the replay, when you go through the footage, you learn and you course correct, and you learn a little more and course correct, and you get more and more efficient. So I certainly film and record through the lens of, I visualize it in the end product. And I'm also very musically driven. My editing process is auditory first. It's like the sound or the music, the soundtrack, if you will, is what informs my creative eye. So if I have the opportunity, I'm listening to music that's going to be in the same ethos or the same energy of the type of film we're creating. Different people they might be visually inspired first, but mine is auditory. So, it's dropping into the same energy. I find that if this is relevant for people that are camera operators, I will move and it'll open up that creative vein for the flavor of how I want to cut. So yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. If you're not filming or producing for the end product in an efficient way, it's very inefficient, for one. And if you are working with a team, it's very costly because often you're invoiced hourly. And so it's it's certainly a part of the trade. I love that person shared that total nugget with you.
Yeah. And I'm not a video production guy or agency. I focus more on strategy, branding, and public relations side of things, on social media. But I get involved in the social media part and helping my clients with content in general, and also helping myself. I also, when I am filming, I typically film with my phone, some podcasts, talking heads, and things like that. I also film to edit. I always think about that, and every time that I'm talking to my clients, it's like, okay, how can we do this so it's frictionless as possible, and that includes, I guess, frictionless as possible in the production too. So that's something that I do, like, and I recommend clients something as simple as, I use, look, you see this really high quality mic. Okay, I did buy this, but then I connect this to my Rodecaster. That can be anything else. I can connect an XLR mic that has an output that is USB-C. That's what I'm getting. Then I have an iPhone 15 that has USB-C. I connect it there. Then I record on 4K, zoom out enough that then I can use horizontal, but also zoom in and use the vertical. And then you see, like, that's how I make it as easy as possible for me to then edit, because I know I either got to do it myself or I want cheap labor to do it. And I just, hey, here's a file, has all the high quality video and audio already, and this is how I want you to do it. Make sure that you touch these things, and that's it. Is in to make it as simple and as cheap as possible. Let's say, right? Like, I don't want to pay too much money, like you said,
Yes. No, it's all about efficiency, especially when it comes into the land of video production, because a photo shoot versus a video shoot are two extremely different animals. And that's something, if you're not in that world, people get quotes for doing brand or corporate photo shoots, and they're like, okay, it's $5,000. And then they get a quote for a whole day of filming 25 different videos, and it's 3 hours of interviews, and they're wondering, well, it's a half day shoot, but it's $25,000. I don't understand. Why is it 5x? And the reality, it's closer to 10x in the processing you have to do, because it's not only one still frame, it's every single still frame, and it's tens of thousands of them. If one person walked into the background of a shot, that's effort. That's something you have to, there's not just a magic wand, make it disappear in a still frame. And you're working with sound design, you're working with overlays. If someone clucks their tongue every time they say something, or they're pulling a Justin Bieber and licking their lips in between everything they say, you got to cut that out too. So there's so many layers to it. It's a beautiful, masterful tool, the land of video, to convey the best, most aspirational self of an organization, of a founder story, of whatever the image is that you're wanting to convey. And it is tedious. I mean, today I was editing a scene involving a green screen and a hand that was supposed to be petting a cat. And there's a slight overlay. The green screen was behind the hand. But long story long, I had to go frame by frame for 10 seconds. So I had to go through 240 photos and tweak every one of those with anchor points to make sure that the screen behind it was succinct. Otherwise, it was very obvious that the animal that was going to be put in the scene, there was like black chunks around it. So anyway, I could wormhole into the video production realm and how tedious and just infuriating it can be. And it's a beautiful end product. You know, it's that beautiful art form that helps people tell great stories.
Yeah. I mean, I love video, and it can be so tricky. I mean, when I do simple editing on CapCut to get a 30-second or like a minute clip, 60-second clip, and I'm so like, it's so many little things and adding, and then suddenly you have to edit something, and then all the like captions and all the things that get moved, and now you gotta kind of start again and move. And it's like, so I get it. I get it. I haven't done that much, and I still like I've had a dose of it, and it's not. But when you do it right, you get hundreds of thousands of people, like sometimes to see the art that you created, or a collective created, right? Because sometimes there's a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
Then that's like, oh my God, so nice. You know, it's like we did it together. We found out and we got it, and so I love how video can be so artistic, you know, and can make people feel so much, because it's you know, a picture can tell a lot, but a video though, like I mean, a picture you get like the editing, the everything, but a video is just the closest to in person that tech can give you right now, right? It's a video, so that's why I like it.
And you can overlay, to me, building a sound score. That's an entire world. We had an amazing guest on our show, Sebastian Zuleta. He is a professional sound scorer he's done some Pixar work, but the opportunity to talk to him about a latest full-length feature film that he designed the entire sound score of it, and going through his creative process, it's amazing that, yes, it's as close as we can get to real life, but it's also the power to invoke a feeling from the sound design, the soundscapes. I mean, even just like horror films, a horror film trailer that you're forced to see when you want to go, you know, you're going to go see something happy, and then they're going to drop some really we're coming towards October now, and I'm like, ooh, the scary stuff, because the sound design wrecks me, because I'll cover my eyes. I mean, this is just way too much of me sharing that I'm a weenie, but like, you know, I'm like, I'm not listening or I'm not watching it, but the sounds just, there are explosions visually in my imagination of the most horrific things, but it's just the power of some amazing creative genius that's like, you know, wait for it, and then they're gonna drop some type of like critter that's gonna like eat your face or something. Like, it's just so scary. But the ability to convey, even with when you get into the lighting design and building the color theory, it's such a beautiful format, and it does have the ability to invoke whatever you want feeling wise, which is so cool.
Yeah, definitely. Lighting, sound, video, talent.
Yeah.
cat herding.
Cat herding. Meow. Meow, meow, meow. You missed my beatboxing before the call. It was just a
Right,
lot of
right.
meows.
So just I have no doubt there's gonna be some people that are gonna like everything, the quirkiness, the intellect, the clear experience, all of it. And they want to contact you. So who you looking to connect and how can people find you?
Yes. So for brand campaigns, we dominantly work with mid-sized businesses that have typically been opened for 3 years. We do work with startups, but just the ability to have runway to build a video and brand campaign that builds momentum. So that's our niche of who we typically come on board with. Our role is that if you don't already have a creative director that is on your staff, your C-suite, we come in as a fractional creative director and just become a cohesive part of your organization. So that's how we like to play with others for creating amazing, sustainable work, translating into the visual realm. People can get in touch with us by visiting our website. It's Ruby Riot Creatives. .com. So Ruby like the stone, Riot like a big old party, and then creatives like a group of artists. And all of our social media is Ruby Riot Creatives. And that's probably the easiest thing. And then if the masterclass for on-camera interviews is something that is striking a nerve in your soul because the last place you want to be is on camera, but it is a necessary evil in today's day and age. You can go to rubyriotcreatives.com/interview and put in the word FOO, FOO, and you will get 15% off of the masterclass. So we're building our wait list right now, but use that little promo as a little thank you for being a part of FOO's amazing community. And also, you can help me by going and writing an amazing review for this podcast and saying how much you freaking love FOO and how cool he is and all this great insight and all these amazing people he brings on the show that you love. So go give him 10,000 stars and tell him that you love it. That's how you can help me.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You can help me by returning the favor and going to Ruby Riot or the Ruby Hour, Ruby Hour, which is her podcast. And you see, like, she's fun. So I can't, you will imagine, as you would imagine, very fun at the Ruby Hour. Very creative. I mean, they're all creatives over there, so you can imagine. Go there and have some fun with this cat herders.
So good.
I'm a cat person, so I meow sometimes too. So
it happens.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. That's true. So thank you, Shelby, for being here. It's always a pleasure to have a conversation with you in any regards. Like sometimes you interview me, or I interview you, or we just talk business, and it's always fun. So thank you for taking from your time and energy to be here with me.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. So this was Shelby Ring and FOO. This is us signing off.
Hey, we all want to scale our business. Hey, I have the answer for you today to help you do that. If you're looking to scale from 5, 6, even 7 figures and beyond, book called Be Good, Be Brief, Be Gone. I'm going to give it to you for free. All you have to do is type in growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash, and you can download the book for absolutely free. I hope the book helps you this year. Take your business to the next level. Again, go grab the book, growfast.cash. I say again, growfast.cash. I wish you the best and grow, scale, and win.
Thanks for listening to Moments with FOO with your host, FOO. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we will see you on the next episode.
There's baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Dear God, it's beautiful.